What happens when the hungriest nation on earth suddenly stops eating? Not a pause, not a delay, a full stop. For decades, China has been the world's largest buyer of meat: pork, beef, poultry, you name it. From the cattle ranches of Argentina to the feedlots of Texas, the meat industry has revolved around one customer. But when that customer closes the door, everything collapses. And guess what? It's already happening. This is not a hypothetical. This is a ticking time bomb hiding inside your grocery store. And when it goes off, it won't just hit farmers. It'll hit your wallet, your dinner table, your town. For most of modern history, meat was a luxury in China, a once-in-a-while dish, a festival treat. But over the past 20 years, things changed fast. China's middle class exploded. Hundreds of millions of people now eat meat daily. Pork became as common as rice. Beef and lamb, once rare delicacies, became household staples. At its peak, China was importing over 1 million tons of meat per month. Per month! That's more than entire continents consume. And this wasn't just quantity, it was money. Over $1.4 billion annually poured into meat exporters from Brazil, Australia, New Zealand, and the U.S. Contracts stretched across oceans. Ranchers raise entire herds just for Chinese diners. Economies were built around one market. But when you build your house on one pillar, what happens when that pillar cracks? We've already seen the warning signs. In 2020, after political tensions flared, China suspended meat imports from Australia overnight. Beef and lamb shipments were turned away at the ports. Containers stacked up, freezers overflowed, millions in product unsellable. In 2024, it happened again, this time to the U.S. A technical dispute over animal feed additives led to a sudden ban on shipments from the West Coast. On paper, a minor disagreement. In reality, a multi-billion-dollar gut punch. Every time this happens, chaos follows. Contracts vanish, prices plummet, supply chains buckle. And here's the terrifying part. Those were temporary pauses. What happens if China stops permanently? Picture this. A nation that buys more meat than anyone goes dark. Overnight, billions of dollars of demand vanishes. Countries like Uruguay, Brazil, and New Zealand, who've built entire economic sectors around China's appetite, are left scrambling. Exporters flood other markets with product that no one asked for. Prices crash. Meat meant for Shanghai and Beijing floods supermarkets in Buenos Aires and Madrid at half the price. But it's not just the expensive cuts. China also buys the parts no one else wants. Pig snouts, chicken feet, tails, heads, delicacies there, dog food here. Without China, these parts become waste, which means the value of the entire animal collapses. A whole cow might be worth less than the feed it took to raise it. Back on the farm, reality hits harder. Imagine raising animals for months, sometimes years, only to find out there's no buyer. The cost of feed keeps climbing, storage space is maxed out, refrigerated trucks are book solid. The animals don't stop growing. They keep eating, drinking, needing care. Farmers are left with two choices. One, some more to maintain unsellable livestock. Two, exhibiting their losses. And in some places, that means culling herds. Slaughtering healthy animals because keeping them alive would bankrupt the farm. Let that sink in. Cattle raised for premium Chinese markets, marbled, pampered, selected over generations, reduced to economic liabilities overnight. These aren't just animals, they're investments, family legacies, future income, gone. But this isn't just about farms, it's about entire towns. When farmers go under, it ripples out. Slaughterhouses cut shifts or close entirely. Truckers have fewer loads to haul. Feed producers stop getting orders. Veterinarians, machinery suppliers, cold storage companies all feel the pain. In rural communities where agriculture is the backbone, this becomes existential. Kids are pulled out of school. Families lose land held for generations. Some leave their homes behind, looking for work in cities. Others stay and sink. Mental health crises spike. Bankruptcy becomes common, and hope becomes scarce. It's not just economic collapse, it's cultural disintegration. You might think, okay, it's just meat, can't they sell it somewhere else? Sure, in theory, but the global meat trade is a precision machine. Every contract, every shipment, every carcass is tied to a specific demand. When that demand disappears, the system doesn't bend, it breaks. Suddenly, freezers are full of meat no one wants. Ships circle at sea with cargo they can't unload. Exporters slash prices just to move product. But if everyone's doing that at once, prices fall below cost. And then comes the scariest part, a shortage after the surplus. Because once producers slash their herds and exit the business, rebuilding takes years. You don't restock a cattle herd like a vending machine. It takes generations. So after the crash comes the drought. Meat becomes scarce. Prices shoot up. Only the wealthy can afford it. And the rest of us, we get the scraps. But nature, capitalism, hates a vacuum. If China won't buy meat legally, someone will sell it illegally. Black markets, boom. Already, Chinese authorities seize over 100 tons of smuggled frozen meat per year. Smugglers ferry pork, beef, and poultry across rivers, on rafts, even tucked inside cargo shipments. No inspections, no safety labels, no temperature controls, just raw demand and raw product. Street vendors, shady restaurants, underground wholesalers, they don't ask questions. They just want meat. And when demand is that high, no crackdown can keep up. And don't forget, this isn't just economics. It's geopolitics. When China pulled meat imports from Australia in 2020, it wasn't about beef quality. It was political retaliation over COVID investigations. They didn't stop at meat. Wine, coal, barley, lobster, all hit with bans. When China wants to make a point, it hits where it hurts: exports. So if your country angers Beijing, military alliances, diplomatic statements, trade sanctions, meat becomes a bargaining chip. The farmer might do everything right, but if their government missteps, they lose everything. That's the dark reality of global interdependence. If this trend doesn't reverse fast, the consequences become generational. When producers cull their breeding stock, the cows and sows and boars that produce future animals, they destroy their capacity to recover. It could take a decade or more to rebuild herds. And if the demand isn't guaranteed, many won't bother trying. That means fewer farms, fewer ranchers, and a global meat market that's permanently scarred. Eventually, we swing from oversupply to shortage. Prices rise again, but there's no product left, and consumers face a new reality. Meat becomes luxury, classifier protein disappears, roxury bills skyrocket. This isn't just a meat story. It's a wake-up call for the entire global economy. We've become addicted to one buyer, one market, one tap that, if shut off, brings the whole system to its knees. And we've already seen what happens when China stops buying. This isn't theory, it's now. The question is, how long can your country hold on without its biggest customer? Think about that the next time you pick up a steak or wonder why meat suddenly costs double. Because the world's hungriest nation doesn't need to go to war to make an impact. Sometimes it just needs to skip dinner.
If this opened your eyes, drop your thoughts in the comments. Could your country survive losing its top export partner overnight? And if you want more stories that uncover the hidden machinery behind your everyday life, subscribe and hit the bell. We'll see you in the next one.